more speed on the field, we can. But it depends on the personnel grouping and things like that. But hard to say right now, still early on. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. Yeah, that's what we've been the last couple of years. Yeah. Well, we'll see. It depends. We can put a lot of guys back there. Just depends on what call we want to go with, how we want to rotate, and what guys gives us the best chance to win.
Coach Combs was really talking to you up, Matt. He was saying that you guys are like the perfect partners. He feels like he can get the guys ready, like fired up, and you're kind of the technician. Can you speak more about that? How you and Coach Combs make a good team?
Yeah, I think it's good yin and yang. Kerry does an unbelievable job, and I feel fortunate to be able to assist and kind of focus on the day-to-day and details and things like that, which frees him up to have a little bit more time to focus on bigger picture things and coordinating the whole defense. So it's been awesome. I've learned a ton from Kerry and really enjoyed my role.
Matt, when you talk about getting more speed in that secondary, is that where the bullet factors in? And we probably all talked about that position a lot the last 2 years. It seems like it might actually feature more this year. Is that your reference in there with that speed being on the wing?
Yeah, I think, if you go back, and maybe not as many snaps as some other times, but if you go back to 19 and 20, there were times where we were playing 5 defensive backs on the field. So that's nothing new to us. And again, it'll be game to game, week to week, what gives us the best chance to win. In some cases playing with 3 linebackers on the field. And if you go back, and sometimes we had 4 linebackers on the field. So it's week to week. It's by game plan. It's what we think the matchups are, how we think we can make a team left-handed, and we go from there.
If you have a week where the bullet factors in more, what is it that you guys want to see in that position? What does it take to play?
Same thing with every other position. Great question, but effort, technique, and execution.
And the bullet is a hybrid linebacker. Go ahead.
Court's worked his butt off. I mean, he's the most diligent guy I've ever met. He's played well in some scrimmages, and he looks great. Excited for Court.
And the bullet is a hybrid linebacker safety, but I noticed that guys like Craig Young, Ronnie Hickman, they work with the safeties when you guys break apart. Is that correct? And what's the reasoning behind that with them kind of have a hybrid role?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it's just what are we trying to get accomplished in that period? There are times when those guys that you mentioned will go down and do run fits with the linebackers and D-line. There's times when they go do more coverage things. There's time when I take the linebackers. There's times when I have Tommy Eichenberg, Cody Simon, Dallas Gant. There's times where Coach Walsh has the back end guys. It's just what are we trying to get done in that period, and what's the most efficient way to do it.
Man, I just walked up, but do you have a depth chart at this moment at your 2 safety spots and at the bullet? Who are like maybe the 6 guys you intend to play back there, at least in the open?
Well, we intend to play more than 6.
Okay.
We want to play as many guys as are ready to play. So, do we have a set depth chart at this time? We don't. We're going to continue to evaluate to get the best guys on the field up until the time the foot hits the ball, and we'll continue that evaluation throughout the game.
But just give us a feel for, is Josh Proctor a leader back there? What have you seen out of him in preseason?
Well, he's an older guy. I mean, how much is he going to play? I mean, that remains to be seen and those types of things. Has he been a leader? He's definitely matured a great deal since the first day I met Josh, and we're very proud of him for that.
Matt, what do you call the position of the person who covers the slot receiver in this defense?
Cover safety.
Okay. When we see, if Lathan, tell me if I'm wrong on these. If Lathan Ransom seems like a guy who works in there, Marcus Williamson, Cam Martinez, are they viewed all the same, or do they do any sort of different things when they're on the field?
That's a great question. We're very concept and technique oriented. So we teach the whole. So I can play a corner in the slot. I can play a traditional safety in the slot. So yes, sometimes those guys that you mentioned go cover in the slot, and sometimes those guys play in the post, and sometimes those guys play a third, and sometimes they play different things. So again, we're concept and technique oriented, so we're less concerned with which Jimmy and Joe is there right now. It's more, we're kind of more X's and O's right now. It's kind of this concept at this time. Hey, why don't we get so and so some reps there? We've seen what it looks like from last year, and in the COVID era, and with injuries, guys have to be flexible and play different positions. So to say that we're going to lock a guy in, we're going to pigeonhole somebody into a certain position at this point, we're really not ready to do that.
I'm just making sure we don't sound stupid when we're talking about your defense.
Cover safety.
Because it's like, yeah,
Cover
like
safety.
it's, and I mean, when you look at someone again like Lathan Ransom as a football player versus Cam Martinez as a football player, they can do similar things, but they also seem to have different skill sets, but they might be lined up in the same place on the field, but it might be matchup-wise, the team you're playing, the
100%.
player
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
slot,
You hit it
they're
on the
doing
head.
different things.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for
Yeah,
helping
absolutely.
us learn.
You got it.
Matt, what kind of impact has Paul Rhodes made on your role?
Paul's been tremendous. He's been an unbelievable help to me. You know, we wish that we were able to get him to do some things on the field, but unfortunately, we were not able to do so. But he's been a valuable resource for me. He's an encyclopedia of football knowledge. I think one of my biggest strengths as a coach is I have a low ego. You know, I realize that there are many things I don't know. So when Paul tells me something, I generally go do it. But he's had a tremendously positive impact on myself, and then through me on our room.
To kind of piggyback on what I was asking, when you're on the recruiting trail, do you have to be kind of that specific of what they should be watching, whether it's cover safety, slot, outside, free safety, whatever it is?
In some instances, we're specific, and we always have you know, targeted some body types and skill sets. But you know, I mean, I could give you a ton of examples, but what we anticipated using Lathan Ransom as when he came in is much different than what we're actually using him as. So you have to be flexible. You have to understand that. Again, if you pigeonhole somebody as a 17-year-old, I don't think that's the right move to make. I think you got to see what they can do. I think you have to see what your needs are, what they do best, and how you can put them in a defensive position to be successful.
What did you plan on doing with him originally?
That guy got here in the summer, and then he's playing in the Big Ten championship game. Circumstance. We just speak on what he was able to do for you, Lathan. What he was able to do for you guys late in the season, given how he got here. He didn't have anything going on. He didn't
Yeah, you know, if you watched Lathan's high school film, he was more deep player, a deep field oriented, middle field safety, and those types of things. He ended up being a much better cover player than we anticipated. And if you go back and watch, now I would expect to see Lathan all over the field this year, but if you go back to the Clemson game, you know, you saw him mostly covering in the slot, and that was something that we were not necessarily anticipating him doing at such a high level.
So basically, you expected him to be more of a high safety, but he's become a cover safety.
Again, it's one thing that we didn't anticipate him doing that well, that he does very well. But I would expect to see him all over the field.
Last year, it seemed like you knew who your main experienced guys were, but there was a lot of question about the depth, mostly because of COVID being unable to coach up those younger guys. This year, the impression we get from Ryan is you guys feel good about the depth. There's a lot of guys in the mix, but maybe there's not much certainty at the top. Is that accurate? Or you have more guys in the pool to play, but you're not sure who's going to be? Or
Well, I think we've got, at every position, we've got multiple guys that we feel really good about. So, you know, it's a long season, it's a physical season. The nature of college football has changed, you know, in the course of the last 10 or more years, where 60 plays used to be a lot of plays, now 90 plays is a lot of plays. So you're really playing a game and a third. And over the course of a season, as you know, you play 12 games and then hopefully a conference championship game, and then who knows from there. You know, there are plenty of reps that go around. So yeah, I think we have a lot of guys that we feel confident at different positions, at multiple positions. We feel like we've got a lot of guys that we feel have a great deal of confidence in, and that will afford us to play a variety of players.
Matt, in the most generic.
The pass defense last year struggled. It's not all on the defensive backs, it's clear. But how confident are you that the pass defense will better, that your guys will play better this year?
Yeah, we feel very confident. You know, we're not going to shy away from the fact that we didn't play our best football, particularly in the back end last year. We're going to use that to motivate us, and that's something that's remained. I don't know if it's been in the back of our minds, maybe it's been in the front of our minds, you know, and that's something that you can either, you know, kind of make excuses, or you can own up to it and figure out what you can do a better job of and use it as a motivator to get better.
When you look at it, I mean, how much of it was, well, that is legitimate reason, it got as much, whatever other issue, or how much was, oh, we just didn't play all that well?
You know, we don't want to make excuses. Obviously, there were some extenuating circumstances last year, and COVID made it hard to develop young players and guys that were maybe making position changes that needed I don't know if people really realize how important a full spring ball and then a chance to make corrections after spring ball and have a chance to work on some things over the summer and then have a chance to really polish those things into summer camp. You know, I don't know if unless you're in it, if you can fully appreciate how important that is. So.
Real question about Marcus. He's back. Do you sense in him, I've got to put his eggs in a second chance, and how's he been?
Hooker's been great. Yeah, he's been great. He's been amongst a ton of guys that have done a really good job for us. You guys mentioned Josh Proctor and Bryson Shaw is another guy's played really well. Marcus Hooker, and then Marcus Williamson, Lathan Ransom, Cam Martinez. All those guys. We've had a ton of guys. Again, somebody asked that question earlier. Do you have more? We have more. We have a lot of guys. We got a lot of guys playing at a high level right now. So we'll see who kind of separates over the course of the next week or so, who can really be locked in and detailed on the game plan and feel like give us the best chance to execute Thursday night.
How are the true freshman safeties doing? I know you guys lost Jalen Johnson, but Andre Turrentine and Jansen Dunn, what do you expect out of them this year, maybe special teams wise, and how are they doing so far, Matt?
Yeah, it's a great group. It really is. The young safeties, young corners, it's a great group. They're exciting. They've got a lot of ability. They are learning to be more and more detailed as we go. Flying around and really, really care. High give a crap factor. Let's go with that. But a fun group to coach. Yeah.
Matt, how far along is Cam in far as his development? Speaking of a guy that lost a lot of time, COVID, switching positions, all those things. I mean, how far along has he come, and how much further do you think he has to go to be a regular contributing member in the secondary?
That's a great question. Yeah. If you know Cam, you know what a hard worker he is and what a detailed young man he is. Don't be surprised if you look up 20 years from now and Cam Martinez is the president of the United States or something. He's unbelievable. I wouldn't put anything past him. He's developed extremely fast through this. Now, it wasn't overnight, but just because of how hard he worked. And if you go back to last January, he was most improved in the weight room, and he carried that work. He's just a grinder, man. He just gets after it every day, and he's developed. The fun thing about guys that don't have a ton of defensive experience, whether it's DeMario McCall at corner or Cam Martinez at safety, they don't know anything better other than just to do what you tell them to do. So you tell them what to do, and that's the way they do it, because otherwise they have no idea what they're doing. So they pick the techniques up quickly. They work really hard at it. Cam's played exceptionally well.
Has he petitioned for a chance to return kicks or punts or anything yet? I mean, does he keep pointing to that highlight tape?
Yeah. Maybe we need to go back and rewatch that, because he was dynamite. He was a touchdown every time he touched the ball in high school. So great question for Coach Fleming, though.
Does knowing that you're going to be opening with a team that, not only on the road, but a senior quarterback, seen a lot, done a lot, does that impact, how you go about forming that first depth chart?
Yeah, absolutely. As much as anything, it impacts our urgency in everything that we do. I mean, that is an extremely well-coached football team. That is a very talented veteran football team that plays hard. They do the little things right. We will have our work cut out for us. So it's I don't know how much it's affected the depth chart, other than to say it's certainly affected our urgency and how quickly we need to improve and execute.
Matt, when we talk about that cover safety spot, I know that guy's got to have a lot of skills there, but could you just talk about the balance there of the ability to maybe cover a slot guy man-to-man, the ability to play the run, to blitz at times, to do different things? How do you balance the skills you're looking for at that position?
Yeah, and again, we really are. We'd like to be as multiple as we can be. So we're really, again, concept and technique oriented across the whole safety or the whole defensive backfield position. So they've got to be able to do all those things. How do you balance it? I don't know. If you got a great recipe, I'd love to see it. But it's you try to teach them the techniques you want. You try to show them where maybe something that they're doing on kickoff might carry over to how they can blitz, and you try to make as much carryover in the learning and the concepts and techniques as you can.
Matt, when you play those cover safety guys kind of walked up the way you do, and they have run fits, how have guys like Marcus and Cam, who are maybe a little smaller than Sean, who played it so well 2 years ago, and Lathan, kind of handled that responsibility?
They've been great, because again, those are for what those guys lack in size, they make up for in technique and effort and toughness. When you're a safety, what you're giving up in height and weight, you're gaining in quickness and ability to maybe let's say, play around a block, but kind of navigate a block in a different way that that 6'3", 240-pound linebacker would.
What fungibility between the cover safety and the bullet in terms of those guys being able to do similar things?
Everybody on our defense is interchangeable. Yeah, and again, that's why we're so concept and technique oriented. So we're going to be in constant pursuit of getting the best players on the field. And again, I think the last thing we can do is pigeonhole players into very specific roles. But if we can teach them all how to play man, how to play zone, how to blitz, how to tackle, how to block the feet, then we'll have a chance to be promoted.
So just because the guy, Lathan Ransom's playing cover safety, Ronnie Hickman playing bullet, if those guys could move between spots, if it gets the best guys on the field?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt.
man.
Appreciate it.
Masterclass. Absolutely.
He's too good at that. We need to file a complaint.
You go play 11 defenders?
All right, guys, Craig Young.
Craig, how would you say your skills as a football player fit what you're doing at the bullet position now?
I say I'm fast. Ohio State, we have fast people, we have fast players. I'm very versatile. I can fit in the box, I can guard, I can go back in deep thirds. I can do pretty much anything that a 5'9" player can do, and I'm just 6'4", so I just say just being fast and just being physical in the box, so that's what makes me.
6'4".
Yeah, 6'4".
Because Ronnie, one of the first things Ronnie said was, people don't know how fast you are.
You're right.
So that's,
Yeah, they
6'4" dude who's super fast is pretty good.
Yeah,
huh?
they don't know how. Yeah, they don't really know how fast I am. They got the times mixed up on Google and Twitter and stuff. But yeah, I know the real time.
So how do you feel when you're on the field now in this position? I don't know. There's not a, this is big time college football, but there's still not a ton of 6'4" guys with great
Right.
speed floating around out there.
How I feel. Actually, I just play the game how it's played. Actually, so I just be detailed, keyed into my player who I'm playing. I just be really detailed and really disciplined and everything. I use it as an advantage, speed, skill, my length. I use everything as an advantage, of course. But really, it's just being disciplined and detailed because you can have all the speed you want, you can have all the things you want, but if you ain't disciplined, then it's not gonna work. So yeah.
Craig, I remember when you were here camping before you got your offer, however many years ago that was, they basically worked you out everywhere but offensive line.
Right.
Do you always envision kind of this role for yourself where you're sort of multi-positional and able to use your versatility?
For sure. I always thought that I was going to be one of them athletes that play different positions in college and everything. And it didn't start till about this year, and I'm really liking it. Actually, I'm enjoying it. It's me. It's what I did in high school. I feel very comfortable with it. I feel, and I'm moving very comfortable with it. I'm more confident in this position where I'm at now.
How do you prepare yourself mentally to have a lot of different tasks?
Actually, I lean on my brothers on the team. Actually, so just being mentally, I asked Josh Proctor what's going on in this play, or I asked some of the linebackers because I'm also in the linebackers. I asked the linebackers how can I fit this run gap, or how can I come in set the edge on this play. So really, I just do rely on my brothers on the team just to help me out through everything, and they do a good job with that, and they very patient with me, and I'm gonna get the job done regardless. So really, my brothers on the team, they help me out with it a lot.
Craig, kind of building off Bill's question here, how do you best go about building off what you see on film and taking it to the practice field, knowing that you got so many different things you got to try to get straight?
Really, I find one key thing of what I need to work on, and I just I use it so I just go if I mess up in the film and it's something I didn't do well on it, I try my hardest to rewatch it just to go put it back on the practice field. I don't really me playing multiple positions. I know it's different things I probably struggle on, different other things, but I just pick one thing that's really very important, and I just go attack it.
So how fast are you?
I would just say, is that something you've gotten better at? Obviously, you've got to spend a considerable amount of time working on that. You feel that's a strength for you now?
Yeah, that's definitely a strength for me. I got better at it over the years. Being here, they develop you for that. They develop you for anything that comes hard. So like, I'm actually getting better at it, and I'm not done growing from it. So I'm just gonna take it day by day, and I'm gonna just keep stacking the days with it.
So how fast are you, Craig?
I'm fast. I'm pretty fast. It all depends with
40.
40. I'm gonna say I'm gonna run a low 4.4. I'm a low 4.4 guy.
What else can you brag about? Like 100? I'm trying to think of what else.
Oh yeah, 100. See, the times they got it wrong. The times they say 10.7, but no, I ran the 10.5.
10.5. Okay,
yeah,
we gotta get it right.
10.5.
Okay.
What do you weigh right now?
About like 225, around 225, 223. Yeah.
So how often, when you're in groups in practice, how often are you with the linebackers and how often are you with the safeties?
See, I'm just with the safeties a lot. I do my own time. I go with the linebackers. I do my own time to go with the linebackers just to still work on my hands and just to defeat blocks and everything still. So really, I just go with the linebackers on my own time, and I'm just with the DBs now more of the time.
Are you just playing bullet, Craig, or are you playing multiple spots?
Right now we just getting in. We just getting ready for Minnesota right now, so I'm just really just focused on my position that I'm playing. As everybody knows, not too many different positions that I know of, but we just really focus on Minnesota is what we're doing now.
When was your first conversation with the coaching staff about you kind of changing positions, and what was your initial reaction when they said that?
Over the probably like the next day of the after the Alabama game, probably that week, we got straight to it. They asked me would I like to do it. That's what I thought I was coming in as my freshman year, as a safety, and I was excited. I was excited to go. I was excited to play. I was ready to like take the next. I was ready for it because this is what I wanted to do when I first got in here.
So was it Coach Barnes, Coach Washington, Coach Combs? Who was kind of in on that discussion with you?
I'll probably say all the defensive coaches, even the head coach, Coach Day, all of them. They asked me, and they felt comfortable with it, and they was confident than me with it. Then I was probably more confident, but deep down in my head, this is what I wanted to play, and this is what I wanted to do. Like, so I was ready for it.
And were they calling it the bullet position then?
You said what?
Were they calling it the bullet position, like in that conversation with you?
No, they just called it safety. Yeah.
Greg, you think back, the spring game probably feels like a long time ago for you, but
yeah.
You were showing that stuff in coverage. You were working well there. We didn't get to see you hit a lot, but
yeah.
We know you can do that. How comfortable were you in April compared to where you are right now?
Right. In April, I wasn't very that comfortable. I can say that, but right now, right now, I feel comfortable. Right now, I'm getting it. And it's all of the help with my brothers and everything. My brothers help me with that confidence. They encourage and everything. Everybody know that I'm new to the BIA, so they encourage me to go hard, and that just builds my confidence in everything. But right now, I say I'm probably the most confident than I ever been at Ohio State.
Craig, just to help us know how you're thinking, is there somebody in the NFL, other college player, anybody, a player that you look and think, yeah, I could play like that guy, or you admire?
I look at two players. I look at two players that I really watch. One is Cam Chancellor. He used to play. I watch a little bit of his film and highlights, and I'm watching Isaiah Simmons from Clemson. I watch a little bit of his also and see what he does well and how he's like attacks the ball and everything. So them two players right there, probably the main two players I probably watch and try to imitate.
I wasn't going to do that to you because that guy's crazy good.
Yeah.
But that's the guy I was thinking too. I mean, this team faced him in playoffs a couple of years ago, and like nobody knew even what to call him. Like
right.
He's a safety, but he's a linebacker, but he might blitz, but whatever. But it just felt like he was all over the field, and he could do everything. And is that a description of how you think you could affect the defense?
Yeah, I can say that. I feel like I would have a big role like he did, or where he did at Clemson. I feel like I would have a big role just like that. Probably less than that. We don't know yet, but I can see myself what he does, and what he did, I can do too. So, yeah.
It seems like there just must be a lot of confidence in you from the coaching staff that some guys they're talking about sub-back, this guy might be out there to defend the pass, the run. They seem to think you can do all of that. That's got to be, I don't know, a confidence booster or something in your mind that you might not have to leave the field if you're tired.
Oh yeah, that is a confident booster, but that also that's also another way just to make me go harder also, because that's also just like it's just telling me like I'm one of the persons on the team that's actually needed. So like it really just builds up confidence and that makes me go hard when other coaches believe that and other players believe it. Cause like sometimes like as a player, players don't believe till somebody else tell them. So I'm just stacking days. I'm just stacking days. I'm just going hard as I can every day. I'm giving it 100% effort because I can control that. So I'm just really just stacking days and just going hard and just perfecting my craft.
What stands out about Ronnie Hickman, and how much is he kind of pushing you?
And Ronnie Hickman is so good. Like, let me tell y'all about Ronnie. This dude, he has ball instincts. Like, he would go attack the ball real quick. Like before, like I'm talking about, like he's very smart. He's very confident. He has a lot of heart. This dude Ronnie Hickman is, man, he's so good. And over the spring in the camp, me and him was battling. We were just making each other better. Like it was so crazy, man. It was so good because I learned off him and he learns off me. It's some things he can do and some things I can do and some things that it's very so. But we learn off each other. We also teach each other. But Ronnie Hickman is a very good player, like absolutely good player. Yeah.
When you say there's some stuff that he can do and some stuff that you can do, is that like there's going to be some circumstance, there's going to be some situations when you're out there and some situations when he's out there, just depending on what the offense is maybe going to try and do?
Yeah, that's what I would think. Yeah, some things that he can do well and some things I can do well. So like, based off our offense, the offense personnel, whoever knows, it doesn't really matter. That position, this bullet position that we got, we're deep in it. I feel like all three of us can easily be a starter. So, yeah, different personnel of the offense, I'd say, but it doesn't matter because Ronnie's a big guy too. Ronnie can fit in the box. He can do everything that. So he does a great job. Also, Court Williams too. Court Williams, he's a absolutely dog. Don't forget about him. He also plays the bullet position too. That he's very smart, very disciplined, and the dudes that we just get each other better. So we just get each other better.
Craig, we know it's going to be seems like multiple looks from the defense. Would you expect that the bullet will be on the field most of the time? Probably most weeks, most snaps?
I would say it all depends by game plan.
Okay.
All depends by game plan. I won't say the bullet will probably be on the field. It just all depends by game plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Greg, what are the biggest things you've had to learn this offseason about how to play defensive back?
The biggest thing I have to learn is really is trying to just garner receivers. That's how I had to learn. Just working on my read steps, my footwork, and like at press line, just to guard the quicker guys. Because speed is also one thing, but just being quick, that's what I needed to work on. Just my lateral movement, like coming from defensive. Yeah.
Do you feel like this bullet position is a more natural fit for your game than playing a traditional linebacker spot?
Yeah, absolutely. This position that I'm playing also relies in the box. So like, I'm also like, this name. Yeah, I'll say that because
I feel like you can do it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we just follow up on Court real quick? I know he's coming back from the injury.
Mm-hmm.
And you're an older guy in the room. Has he just been getting after it, trying to get back to the position to help?
See, Court Williams, he's grinding every day. He's out. He's still with us every day. He's stacking his days. He's getting better. He's getting very strong. He's getting faster. Court Williams is gonna be absolutely the best. Like he's gonna be the best probably in the Big Ten one day. Like he's coming, but and he's coming quick. It's not far behind. He's still working. He's gonna be all right. Court Williams is gonna definitely be all right. Dude, he's a warrior, true warrior.
Thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it.
And if you want to talk to Craig,
We're all. It's gonna be real cool to see. It's very